welcome to the industry. My name is Courtney Blackman and I'm the Managing Director. We're very excited today to have Katrantzou. She's our guest and she's going to be interviewed by Davina Catt. And once again, we're at the lovely Condé Nast College of Fashion and Design.
Did you ever expect to be here where you are today, or what's taken you most by surprise?
It's so strange because actually in October it's 6 years since I started, and it seems sometimes like eternity and sometimes it feels like it hasn't. It's like it's just been 3 seasons that you've been doing it. So it's not a huge amount of time, but it's enough to feel that you have a solid business and that you have a team now that can undertake certain things that we'd never be able to do. So had New York City Ballet called 5 years ago, we wouldn't have actually had the possibility to work on that. And Adidas, it was the same thing. It's certain things that you do because it allows you to work outside of what you do within your company.
You grew up in Greece, then went
Yes.
to the States, to Rhode Island to do architecture, before coming here to St. Martin's and studying textile design. So you didn't actually study fashion design. Did you ever feel this was a disadvantage?
You always feel it's a disadvantage, but certain things, your perspective changes. So I did do my MA in fashion, which meant that I was able to start thinking at that point of textiles and print within a context of women's wear. And I think as soon as you start thinking of a woman in 3D, you stop becoming a textile designer, you start becoming a fashion designer. So in one way, the fact that I wasn't really geared up and hadn't had a fashion degree and didn't want to be a fashion designer since the age of 14 and didn't have all these preconceived notions of what I should be doing, allowed me more freedom to just instinctually make certain decisions. But I always thought, okay, I'm not a guy, I've never studied fashion design, I'm not British, there's so many things working against you. But I think it's a creative industry and people want to support talent. And that's amazing in fashion, that there are people along the way that come and help you. When I started, it was a shift dress with a print on that had to do all the work. At some point, I remember I did a collection on interiors and on lampshade skirts, and it became about the print and form coming together. And that was also at that point a risk. But again, it was a fine line between having a novel idea, but that becoming commercially viable. And there was no strategic thought behind it. If you're very focused and you're in sync with your times, you know when you need to move on, and you know what your product needs and hopefully what your customer is wanting from you. So when I have a theme, beyond what it means in terms of, I never research a specific era in fashion. That's not my starting point. My starting point is very visual, and if it's about Pangea, like it happened to be this season, I let that inform all facets. I let it inform silhouette, I let it inform fabrication, I let it inform print, whatever we're doing each season. So I feel it's a much more freeing way for me to work. I think also because we work with that many fabrications, you cannot define from the get-go certain things. I cannot limit things from the beginning as color palette, as exactly how many developments we'll do. It has to kind of feel right as you're working with them. You evolve as a designer, you want to work beyond what has been your signature. And I felt I've said so much things through print. I mean, I've done lampshades and objects of art, and I've done valets, and I've done pencils, and I've done perfume bottles, so many things.
And this word fearless is always one that's used to describe you. And we've seen you sort of really move away from these digital prints that you've become so synonymous with in the last few seasons.
I love that that's called fearless. She moved away from print, fearless.